Hi Cancer, welcome to my channel. My name is Kem. So today, Cancer, for your meditative session, you guys got the crone, number 6. Right away what I was getting was something about like the light and the dark, because I was noticing the snake a lot, right? And then I was like, no, but the crone, like the way I'm seeing her today, I'm seeing her really positively. So yeah, I'm getting something about like the light and the dark, right? And I think this is like you, right? And do you see how like she's about to set out on like this path, right? Like she's about to go down that path, and it's like, I don't know, it's like they want you to know that it's like, it's reminding me of a Libra reading a little bit. I don't know if you have Libra in your chart, but it's like, you don't know how good it is now that you're able to like work with the dark, like in the shadow, right? It's like it's an invaluable thing that you've learned, and there's something about like its importance in the next cycle. Like, again, you know how we go through these periods where it's kind of like high, low, like, I mean, you know what I mean? You always go down after a high and you can only go up after a low. Do you know what I'm saying? That's kind of just life. And I feel like in this new cycle, it's like an invaluable thing for you, right? Like everything you've learned, like the crow, you have spirit. I'm really noticing the dark though. So I think it's a lot about how for someone, it's like you need to know that it's not like you're going to be tested, but like you're not going to mess up maybe as like in the next cycle because like of this, like the things like that used to trip you and like mess you up and like, you know what I'm saying, that we had to like learn over and over sometimes. It's like you're not going to have to do that in the next cycle. And like the fact that you can't see the next cycle is important, because it's like they're not going to tell you like, oh, at this time and this day, like you're going to get this tested, like no, or you're going to have this choice to make, and you know what I mean? It's like, no, they're not going to tell you anything. It's not about that. It's about the fact that like as you set out on this new path, you need this. There's like it's something about how you really need it. I don't know if you're going to be like creating from, like it's important in your creation of this new, like how do I explain it? It's like, let's just say for example, you're like gonna create something, right? It's like you wouldn't have been able to create it without that. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's an inevitable, like not inevitable, it's like it's just so important. I can't like keep saying it. It's just very important that you learn this for some reason, because like in the next cycle you need that power, you need that ability. Right? So yeah, Cancer, that's what I'm getting for your meditative session. Let's pull some cards and see what we get. So Cancer, I love this reading already. It's like, it's exactly what the meditative session was saying about the crone, right? It's like the things that you've learned, like the fact that okay, so like if shit hasn't worked out for you in the past, and like you're like, yo, when is things gonna, like that's what I feel like. It's like, when are things gonna start working out for me, right? It's like, when am I gonna be done with this portion of like, you know, the show, like the life, like, you know what I mean? It's like lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson. It's like, what the hell, right? That's what I'm getting. It's like fuck, right? It's like so many lessons, and it's like, when is it gonna be over, right? It's like I've paid so much time to this like shit, you know what I mean? It's like, when am I gonna get mine? Like, when am I gonna receive what I need, right? And it's like frustrating, right? And I feel like they're trying to tell you why like why that cycle was a thing. Like, why? Because now you're sitting here, right? I heard now you're sitting pretty, like, with the self, right? And the Six of Swords, it's like you've been able to integrate this, right? The dark and the light, the shadow, right? It's a lot about shadow and that snake, right? I kept telling you, like, we had to learn to do that, to like there was a reason for that darkness. And I think back in the day, like, you see the snake there, it's like back in the day, that darkness would overtake you, right? Like, that's what I'm getting. It's like that darkness, that part of your shadow, that those like, again, the snake could be healing, but I mean, and maybe there was a lot of healing involved, but it's like that part of you, right, brought you down all the time. I mean, this is for someone who, like, you know, your emotions could overtake you easily. Like, your emotions dictated your life. Like, yeah, like, maybe now you still go by like how you feel, but at the end of the day, like, if some shit falls down, you're not gonna be like in the same way that you would have been before this, right? It's like that pain created this shadow to protect you, and it would bring you down. And I feel like it has a lot to do with relationships too. It's like you couldn't have like a stable, like, again, I'm not saying you didn't have long-term relationships. I'm not saying you didn't, like, you know, fall in love. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, it was hard to keep a relationship going, or like a relationship couldn't last. You know, you want this relationship to last you a lifetime, but the way that you were before, it would have never happened, right? It's like kind of recognizing your shadow, and like, yeah, like, sometimes in life, in the past, there's mistakes that you made because of it, and they're trying to tell you that you needed to go through that to, like, be able to have this new beginning, right? Because we're ending with the Ace of Wands, and it's like, I feel like they're really strongly talking about this new path, right? Like, the new path coming up is very abundant, but if you're not ready, you can lose it all very quickly. Like, not lose it all, but do you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you were in the past energy that you were in, you would not have, I don't even know if you could have reached this abundance. And if you did reach it, you wouldn't have been able to, like, maintain it, right? Because it's like, you could be triggered easily, something could happen, and then it just, like, falls through your fingers. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is for someone who has done a lot of work. It's like waiting for this fucking cycle to end, the new beginning to end, the new beginning to start. And it's like, there's all these signs indicating about, like, that, like, the new beginning, right? And how abundant it's going to be. But I think you're still questioning that cycle and time and, you know, like, 3D bullshit. But it's not about the 3D, right? Because it's like, with the Six of Swords and the Self card, there's nothing like, yeah, they want you to be like, balanced on the 3D, but this took so much effort on the divine and on you. Like, the work you were doing, I feel like, was just beyond, like, the 3D. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're being integrated beyond that. Even with, like, the scribe, again, it's like Akashic record shit. It's like, you know, stuff that you can't, like, work on. It's not like on the 3D. It's not like you go to work, you clock in, you clock out, and it's done. It's like a job that kind of seem to never finish, because it's like a very important thing, right? It's like, and it's like all about activations. That's what I'm feeling, and energy and, like, vibes, right? And it's like, how can I get to that level? Well, you could only get to that, like, you're at that level now. That's what I'm seeing with the Self card. Like, you have been able to achieve that level, and it's going to help you on the 3D. Do you see how here, like, there's no 3D, but here she's sitting on the ground, like, and she's grounded, she's, like, meditating, she's chill. And it's like, to be in this energy, you had to have all this, like, activation and all this, like, integration and all this, you know, the Akashic records, looking back at the past, like, past lives, like, triggers, hurts, wounds, like, generational curse, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, shit that's, like, things that I feel like you can't even talk about in the 3D, like, things that don't make sense to some people, but to you, like, made sense, so you had to go do the work. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, all that wasn't in vain, because it's like, what you're about to have, again, like, they don't want to see this anymore, right? This 8 of Swords, it's like that's the energy you used to be in. Like you could trip yourself up real easily. Like I feel like a lot of it was like you blocking yourself. Like you blocking yourself with the decisions you made because of your shadow, right? So it's like now that you're not working from that shadow, you're going to see a lot of abundance in your life. And it's not something to like be like, oh, well, like it took you so long. And like, I feel like I'm triggering, like, I feel like even talking about it kind of hurts, right? It like feels painful to talk about like how in the past we could have like messed things up because of like our shadow, right? Like when there was love in front of us and we ran away from it, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was someone that was like really good for us, but we couldn't like see them properly because of our shadow, because of our fear. So we just like, you know, we sabotaged it or we destroyed it, or like, you know, we like blamed it all on them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the petty shit that we used to do that I don't even think we used to know that we did. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh shit, like I used to do that. You know what I mean? Like that sucked. Like I can't believe I used to do that. And it's like it's an end to that, right? With the 9 of Cups in reverse, it's like they had to work on integrating this, right? Like within you, right? You had to be able to like take that energy and use it, right? And like I feel like for some of you, you're not like understanding the importance of that cycle, and that's why they're like here to tell you, like, even though for some of you it took longer, like you see other people, this is what I'm getting, it's like you see other people's lives and you're like, where is that for me? Do you know what I'm saying? But like you have to also think about like the people you're comparing yourself to. That's like a really big thing. It's like, who are you comparing yourself to be honest? Like, do you think that they've done as much work as you have, and do you think they're sitting like this? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you're comparing yourself to people that haven't done this work. I mean, maybe, who's to say they haven't, but like, to be honest, I feel like they haven't. Like, I feel like the people that you're comparing yourself to are not like on the same level. So like, you need to stop, like cut that shit out, right? Like, that's what I'm getting with this. It's like, it's already been integrated. They're helping you out, but like, you're choosing to kind of be like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, where's my abundance? Where's my shit? Like, why is this taking so long? Like, do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's like, don't create another blockage for yourself, right? By comparing yourself to others. There's no need for that shit, right? With the Hero in reverse, it's like there doesn't need to be ego involved in this, right? Like it doesn't have to be a comparison. With the Ego card and the 9 of Cups, it's like you had to go through this to be able to receive what you're about to receive. And don't worry about anyone else, right? Like, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like stop comparing yourself to others. It's like so unnecessary, guys. Like you've put so much work. You've done so much. You're so like close to receiving. Again, like the crone was walking down the like to the path. Like she was about to set off on it, right? And it's like, don't let, you already kind of know what triggers you, and you know, like this is like the last thing, you know? It's like comparing your life to others and like why you're at the state you're at when they're like there, and it's like not fair. It's like, don't worry about that. Like that's not of your concern. You know what I mean? It's like, don't make that another blockage in your life with this like 2 of Wands. I see it as like them blocking. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like you're about to go, and then you're like, your mindset I feel like is blocking you, or like this like low, like it's like ego. To me, that's what it sounds like. It's like, and it's not that you're doing it like to be egotistical. It's just like, you know, it's again, it was how I was feeling in the beginning. It's like, fuck, you know, like where's mine, you know, like where's, like what haven't I done, you know? And it's like, it's coming. It's like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like the energy's there. It's just, don't put another blockage on yourself at this time. And that's kind of, I feel like there's like a double message with the choice. I feel like with the choice card, again, see that snake, right? And like the light and the dark. It's like, don't, like you have 2 choices, right? I feel like you're going to have many choices coming up in your life. And this is like an example of exactly what I'm saying. It's like, do you see here, even with the light and the dark, that there's like these 2 warriors in the 7 of Coins, and it's like one of them was like a coward and he didn't, you know, want to do the work, And the other one was like a very honest person. He was like, you know what, I'll sacrifice myself if I have to. And he like jumped in the fire. So he became the son, like because of his sacrifice, and he was like not fearful, and he was just like, you know, accepting of it. He was like, you know what, if I have to be sacrificed, I have to be sacrificed. That's what they want me to do. And they gifted him like with becoming the sun. And the guy who was a coward, they're like, no, you're going to be the moon. Even though it was reversed, it was like, you know, the peasant will be the moon, and the rich like star is going to be the sun. The star ended up being like a coward, and they were like, no, we don't want this person to be the sun, right? And that's how I feel like this is kind of, even with the sun in reverse, it's like you have choices. Like every day you're going to have choices in the future, right? You're going to have choices every day. And the fact that you've healed this, and the fact that you've worked on this, and the fact that you took this along in the cycle, yeah, it's like a lifetime's work. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have to look at it in fact like, oh, like it took so long. It's like, no, maybe it didn't take long at all. Maybe you're like ahead of the curve. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe like people are gonna have to come back on another lifetime to achieve this like enlightenment that you've already achieved. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, again, stop looking at others for that, like stop comparing yourself, right? And I feel like because of this, because of the work that you've chosen to do, it's like you would like, this could have been your path, or this could be your path, right? Like starting as a Page of Swords, starting like in this energy. And that's what I'm getting. It's like you have that choice right now, right? And like, aside from like also having that choice, it's like two things. It's like you have the choice right now to like move forward and be in this energy and at the same time, it's like in the past you had this choice to do the work or not to do the work, and you decided to do the work. So I feel like if you wouldn't have done the work, you would have never gotten like what you deserve. Do you know what I'm saying? The sun in reverse is like, I feel like it's just like an unhappiness, right? And I feel like if you would have never done this work, if you would have never taken the time out, you know what I mean, you would have never been able to like get what you wanted in life. I'll be really honest. Like it seems like a really like, yeah, you wouldn't have never like, it's not even being stuck. It's like just an unhappiness, right? And I feel like, you know, like when you want things to move in your life and things just keep crumbling around you, or like relationships don't work out, you know, like you don't have a steady job, like, do you know what I'm saying? There's so many things tied into this that's like, if you wouldn't have done the work, but because you're doing the work, you're setting out. And I love the way that you're setting out, right? With the Page of Swords, it's like you have this new look on life, right? It's a sword. It's like, you know, this intuition, this intellect, and it's like because of all this that you've learned now, it's like you can set off in this energy. And it's like so much better than this one. It's like, again, it's a decision you made. It's also like who you are. Like, I don't think the person that you are, it's like it's within you, right? It's like you can't help being the person you are. And the person you are is not the person that's going to be like a coward, or the person that's going to like, you know, be able to live a life like this, right? Like, even though it meditate, again, it's something about time. It's like, oh, it's the time. And I feel like you just have to not be concerned about that anymore. So you guys have at the end the King of Fire, the Ten of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. I definitely see for you guys that you're going to be able to achieve this. Like this is, I don't think this is you. I think this is like the person that you're meant to be with, and like the beginning that you're getting. Again, it's like the journey that you've been on is going to lead you this way, right? It's like by doing the work and being in this energy, you get to have that. Like, again, it's like a fresh start. Whereas like if you would have never put this work in, right? And it's like even now today, like you have the choice to like use what you've learned, or kind of be in like this pessimistic, well, this took so long, and like, again, like there's no need for it. Like, don't block yourself. You're already like there, you're at the finish line, just like cross the tape. You know what I'm saying? You know when you're like jogging and you're like reaching the end, and that's when you get really, really tired and you just want to stop. It's like you can see the line to like where you're supposed to run to, but it's like right before it, you get like, I never, you know, there's like people that run. I used to run with my brother sometimes, and he'd be like, yeah, that's when you have to sprint. And I was like, I'm the type of person that will like stop or slow down at the very end of the race. I like at the very end of the jog. I don't know. That's like who I know. It's just something I do. Like I don't push hard at the end. I'll just be like, nah, I'm not. I see the end, so that's good enough for me, and I'm gonna stop right now. Like, so I feel like it's like telling you to like run, like sprint to the end. Don't do what I do, and like when you see the finish line, you're gonna stop right before it, right? That's like there's no need for it, right? Like I feel like that's what's going on right now. It's like the finish line's right in front of your face, and you're like, I'm gonna stop right before it. Maybe take a walk to it. Maybe never get to it. It's like it's good enough. It's like no, they want you to cross it, and if you have to sprint, and it's like the most exhausting part of the journey, or the most like you're the most tired. It's like just get there. You know what I mean? So yeah, Cancer. Let's pull some advice for you guys. So what I'm getting, Cancer, you guys got Seahorse Spirit, Watch and Wait, number 53, making an 8. I really think this is like exactly what we've been talking about, where it's like you're at the very end of the line. You're at the very end of the race. Like you're at the end of the jog and you're like, yo, I'm not gonna get to that end. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like they have so much planned for you. They have so many good things, right? Like here, this is at the end. It's like, you don't have to wonder. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to wonder anymore. It's like it's already there for you. It's already set. It's just like, again, you crossing that line, right? You getting to the end, right? And I think maybe for some of you, this is like an exhausting end, right? Because that's how I'm feeling at the end of like when I'm jogging. I'm like I can't breathe, right? Like I cannot move. I'm like done. My legs hurt. I can't even get 10 more steps, like, but it's all in my head. It's all mental, right? Like of course I can do 10 more steps if I just did the entire jog. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like you're right there. So don't create a blockage for yourself, right? Like, and if it's really hard right now, and that's what I'm getting, I feel like for some of you it could be really hard right now. Like Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. It's two things. It's like, I think when you're again, like maybe right now is a turbulent time in your life and you're like, yo, where the hell is my shit? Like where's my like abundance? Like what's going on? And it's like again, what you learned in that cycle is maybe to remain detached, right? Remember I was saying how like your emotions, I felt like could overtake you, and like on a whim you could be like very upset, and things in your, you know what I mean? You couldn't concentrate throughout the day because you were so upset about a certain thing. It's like you're learning to kind of like detach from those things, and like there's a lot of lessons you've learned in the old cycle. So it's like at the last leg of this race, right? Like stay strong, like keep going. Like I like, that's what I keep thinking. It's like, don't, yeah, now you recognize the suffering. You don't have to be a part of it. You know what I mean? If there is like a turbulent time in your life, you don't have to be a part of that turbulence. You've learned a lot of lessons to kind of keep you out of that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? And if it's like a turbulence that you're creating in your own mind, it's like, again, you know how to detach from that energy. You don't have to be like, it doesn't have to take you down, right? Like right before the end of the race. And it kind of feels like a conspiracy, right? It's like you're right about to end, you're about to get there, and it's like, now it's like another block. But it's like, again, is it you creating it? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's confusing, but they want you to be in this like curious mindset, because that's what I think of when I think of the Page of Swords. Like someone who's very curious, right? Like someone who's like setting out again, someone who's like not jaded, someone who's like kind of like a fresh perspective. And I think that's what you need from this. It's like the new cycle for you is going to be beautiful, but again, it has a lot to do with you, right? It had a lot to do with the work you did. It had a lot to do with, it's all dependent on you basically, right? So like there's something about curiosity. Like be curious about this new abundance, like be curious about the new cycle. Like that's what's gonna, I feel like, keep you going, right? It's like that fantasy, that dream that you have, like keep it in mind. Like it's possible. Just like, do you see how like the water here, it kind of looks gold? That's what I'm saying. It's like you're gonna be in a much more abundant time. It's like, even if now it's like very turbulent, it's like just keep going, right? Like, and curiosity is gonna help you a lot. Like the imagination that you have of like what this new cycle could be for you, like keep imagining it, keep thinking it, like get through it. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Cancer, I really love you guys. I hope this resonates, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.